that you took out on the road, and I love that.
All that creativity.
Yeah, I love that, and I genuinely love, like, every room, behind every door, somebody's writing a song that could potentially be, you know, a song that a child is conceived to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And each family member had my father, a massive music fan, huge vinyl collection, and my mum's side, my uncle, my mother's brother, was very, very much into the metal side, and he was a lot younger than mum, so he was 12 years older than me. So when I saw each party, my dad had put on Leonard Skinner, Bowe, Supertramp, you know, the 70s, and I'd sit there with vinyl, like literally he'd have a vinyl collection, and I'd sit there and be fascinated. I'm so proud that I'm so lucky to have had that experience at such a young age. Fascinating. And then I'd go to Leeds, and then I'd have Iron Maiden, and I'd have the heaviest stuff on, and Rainbow, and Van Halen, and then I wanted a guitar, and you know, luckily to have family members that really picked me up on that, and getting that first guitar, that first acoustic guitar, a red acoustic guitar that my mum bought me, and then listening to Van Halen's Eruption, Eddie Van Halen do this tapping thing, and I remember even now thinking about going, it was like something out of space. I was like, how could a human being do that on the guitar? And then I was fascinated by it. You can just look at a guitar and they know how to play. You know, I had to work at it a little bit, but I say this when I was teaching. The hard part was the loving it. Sorry, the easy part was the loving it. So it wasn't homework. So getting over the first few chords, E, A, D, G, when you're trying to work your way around basic stuff, I don't remember finding that part difficult because I just loved it so much. It wasn't like, oh my God, I've got to chip away at that.
Are facilities like this accessible to kind of kids who've got that aspiration? Where do you think we're at with that?
I think it's there. I think there's great facilities like Riss Music Academy. They've always been solid places to go to physically go and have one show. We ran an academy years ago, so that we gave that options for people to come and teach in schools now. Peripatetic teaching, I think it still exists, so you can still have a guitar teacher and a drum teacher, but again, you can only go for 20 minutes probably once a week to have that, and if you can't afford a lesson, that's what you're going to go for. Is private tuition a bit expensive? I don't, as a musician and a teacher, as the prices go up, how do you value that lesson against a YouTube lesson for free? We're at £30 an hour now. You need to get value for money for that. Is that accessible? That is for private tuition. Is that accessible? £30-40 an hour? I don't know yet. It depends what depends what you want and who's funding that. In schools, peripatetic I think is key. I think it has to stay in. Stockport Music Service have always been amazing. We're sending in everybody from vocal coaches to even classically trained, classical music and operatic music, and learning notation and learning the fundamentals of music that still retains, and then bringing in a rock school element. So there is a contemporary side. So there are pop grades, rock and roll. There isn't kind of pushed to one side as the bad boy of music. Yeah. So from 11 o'clock in the morning till 6, you can actually come by the hour at £10 an hour. So what that comes with is you'll have a staff member to help you set up a PA system, give you microphones for free, stands, comes with a drum kit, and you basically just get a free soundproof space to write and record on your phone with us or in the studio. You can do anything you want. You can write an album here on this desk and have every plug-in and every there. It's not like that anymore. It's not like it used to be, sorry. So with that in mind, that gets away, that stops bands really crafting the song together. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because you've got the ability to not do that. We used to have to rehearse and go to the studio because we only had, well, I'm talking about in the 90s, and to kind of relate it to being young, we didn't have that, and it's been like this for a long time. But I think the live show, unless it's organically sparked off like that, gets left behind. Yeah.